Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hold My Drink, a sobriety podcast, but not for long. We are changing the name, and I'm sorry if this is coming as a big surprise. Hopefully you will be okay with the new name, but we will be rebranding starting next episode, to The Sober Scoop. We are no longer Hold My Drink. We are The Sober Scoop. And I love the name. I think it's super cute and super catchy, and I'm obsessed. I wish it would have been the original name, but you live and you learn. So why are we changing the name? First of all, Hold My Drink, it already exists. There is another major podcast with the name Hold My Drink. And me, in my naivete, when I was starting this podcast, I thought it would be fine that there is another podcast with the same name because some ridiculous stat, 95% of podcasts fail within the first 2 weeks or something like that. And so I was like, oh, it's no big deal. I'm in this for the long haul, but they're in it for the long haul too. These people are major podcasters. They're not just a little random podcast. Hold My Drink is another podcast that's in the UK. They just did a live tour with hundreds of people coming to watch, and so it's a big podcast. And of course, legally, I don't want to run into any copyright or trademark issues down the road as this podcast continues to grow. But also just for confusion's sake. People are tagging me in stuff that they meant to tag the other podcast in, and they're tagging the other podcast in stuff that they meant to tag me in. So there's already confusion going on. And also, I've always had to call my podcast Hold My Drink, a sobriety podcast, because if you searched Hold My Drink, the other podcast would come up. So now I've had to add on this tagline at the end, a sobriety podcast, so that people can even find me. And one thing about podcasts is you definitely don't want to make it difficult for people to find you. And it turns out I was making it difficult. So Hold My Drink will no longer exist, starting with Tuesday's episode. All episodes will be under the name The Sober Scoop. So if you're not already subscribed, definitely subscribe so that you don't miss any future episodes. If you subscribe to Hold My Drink, you will have subscribed to The Sober Scoop. So as long as you're subscribed here, wherever you're listening, you should be good to go. You'll still get all the notifications of new episodes in your podcast feed there. So as long as you are subscribed to this one, you will be good. And yeah, I hope that this is going to be a pretty seamless transition. My biggest fear is that someone is looking to find an episode or come find the podcast because they're struggling or something, and they can't find it because they're looking for it under Hold My Drink, a sobriety podcast. So I don't know what to say. Spread the word. I don't know. I'm going to do a lot of social media posts. I'm changing the name of my social media everywhere. So TikTok, Instagram, the Facebook group, the YouTube channel, all of that will be under The Sober Scoop. And the Facebook group is probably going to be called The Scoop Troop. I hope that's not cringe. I think it's so freaking cute. That's what I plan to call the community. And yeah, if you're not already on the Facebook group, you can go find it at The Scoop Troop, a sobriety support group. I'll probably call it something like that. But again, if you're already in that group, you'll still be in that group. It'll just have a new name. So thank you for your understanding with all of this. It'll be better in the end. Another reason that I wanted to change the name is because when I was going to look for a sobriety podcast, when I was thinking about sobriety a couple years ago, I went to Spotify and I typed in sobriety podcast or sober podcasts. That's what I went to search. And so I want my podcast to be able to pop up when people type that into the search bar. And Hold My Drink is not going to pop up when people type in a sober podcast because sobriety is not directly in the name. It is in that little tagline at the end. But I want it to be so easy for people to find this podcast moving forward. And it breaks my heart that a couple people might fall off because of the name change because they just won't be able to find it. But new people, and as the community grows, new people will be able to find the podcast more easily because sober is right there in the name, The Sober Scoop. So thanks for your understanding. Again, I hope you guys like it. I think it's kind of fun too because scoop, I can do some plays on ice cream and stuff. I want to call the random weekend episodes that I sometimes put out a sober sprinkle or a little sprinkle episode, which I think is cute. So yeah, it's all very exciting. I'm nervous about the change, but I think the podcast is still new enough and small enough that it shouldn't matter too much. And in the end, I think it'll be best for this community and the podcast's growth and everything. So thank you for being here. Again, subscribe everywhere so you don't miss anything when the name changes over. And thank you so much for tuning in to this weekend sprinkle. Oh my God. I don't know if that's cheesy. Anyway, see you on Tuesday for another full episode. We're going to be talking about the media's impact on alcohol, and it's going to be a good one. So tune in, and I will see you then. Bye.